Jehovah's passion for life. We just supported this team that be bringing them life.
Hi, welcome to the Blessed Beat Show. My name is Marcus Sullivan. Special guest in the building. I didn't think I was going to get this interview. I don't know what to start to call you off with, but I could call you urban reporter, journalist, YouTube sensation. But I don't know you personally, so I'm just going to call you Isiah Carey. Isiah Carey in the building.
Glad to be here. I do what I can on a small budget.
Yeah, man.
Layaway plan.
How are you, man? I hadn't seen you in a long time.
You used to sit right across from me in the newsroom.
Yeah, man. I was on a small budget then. But look at what I got now, right?
Exactly.
All right, let's talk about you, man. I know a lot of people are going to be interested in hearing your whole story. Mm-hmm. So for the internet world and for the journalistic world, we all know you. We know you from the video. We know you from some amazing news stories. But take us back to how journalism became your life. Take us to the beginning.
Well, I was 5 years old,
okay,
and I was attending South Boulevard Elementary School in Baton Rouge.
Is that where you're from?
Yeah, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And they had a segment called Thought of the Day or Thought for the Day.
Okay.
And they would bring an elementary kid in every year or every week,
okay,
and get a different kid to do it.
Okay.
And so they picked me one week, and they liked me so much, they let me do it for like 2 years.
Wow.
And so I've been on TV since 5 years old. And I was in the third grade at South Boulevard Elementary, and they had a reporter to come to our classroom named Maxine Crump, and she worked for WAFB, the CBS station in Baton Rouge, and she did a career day. And I said, that's what I want to do.
Wow.
So I went home and told my mom and dad about it, and they said, well, why don't we call the station and see if you can go down there for a tour. But actually, it wasn't called. Write a letter.
Okay.
You know what that is?
No. Yeah, to write a letter.
No, they wrote a letter.
They wrote
a letter.
Okay.
And it took probably about a week or two for the news director to call us, Carlton Cremines, and he said, come on down for a visit.
Right.
And so I went down for a visit, and I said, can I come back the next day?
Wow.
He said, sure. Can I come back the next day?
Yeah.
I said, sure. And then by the time I said the fourth time I wanted to come back again, he said, why don't you just, when you're out of school, and my school was 2 blocks away from the station, come here after school and just hang out. And it was like a shadowing program for me, almost an internship for this 8-year-old little black kid running around the newsroom.
Yeah.
And so I did that from 8 years old until I went away to college. But in the meantime, at I think I was in the 12th grade, I started doing public service announcements for the ABC station in Baton Rouge.
That was still TV, or was PSA's radio at that point?
TV.
That still was TV. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And at 14, I got on radio doing traffic reports at Q106 in Baton Rouge. Oh, can I say that?
Yeah, you just said it. It's all good. Go ahead.
It ain't your competition anyway. It's Baton Rouge.
Right.
Forget about it. But started there doing radio reports, traffic reports.
Okay.
And then while I was freshman at USL in Lafayette, I left Baton Rouge.
They changed the name now or something.
ULL.
Yeah.
University of Louisiana.
Okay.
So I got there. I was 18. Hungry, no food.
Yeah.
Called my mom. I'm like, you need to send me some money.
Yeah.
She's like, you need to get you a job.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I haven't finished school yet. What am I going to do? I applied at McDonald's. I applied at Domino's, all the fast food restaurants. No one would hire me. I'm like, dang. So she said, well, what have you been doing all of these years? What have you been preparing yourself for?
Yeah.
I said, for journalism, for broadcasting.
Right.
She says, well, go apply. And so there was a radio station, KJCB radio station in Lafayette.
Okay.
And they had an afternoon drive open 2 to 7. So I applied, got that job.
Okay.
And so me and many of my college classmates lived off my salary.
You shared your salary back then.
And I hooked them up with the birthday cake every day.
Was the industry, being a black journalist back then, very hard to be respected or to even break into?
It wasn't for me because I had always been around.
Okay.
If you've been in a TV station since you're 8 years old, they feel like your family. you know, and so it wasn't that difficult for me to get into the door.
Okay.
The difficulty I had some resentment from some veteran radio announcers. Here is this 18-year-old who has the afternoon drive slot.
I was just thinking of that. Yeah.
And they were ticked off about that.
Wow.
But I stayed there for a year, and then the old radio station that I also used to visit while in high school, WXOK in Baton Rouge, said, we have an opening for a news director. Why don't you transfer from ULL and come to Southern University in Baton Rouge?
Okay.
And so I became a news director there and public affairs director. And
that's a big position, though.
Oh, yeah. And I'm 18 years old.
Wow. Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay.
And while I was there, I went, the owner of Q106 bought WXOK. So he kept me on, working both radio stations, doing news, and they had a hugely popular radio show in the mornings called Question of the Day. Okay. And it went from 7 to 7, actually from 6 to 8 a.m. each day. Okay. 2 hours long. Okay. And it was the most popular radio talk show, and the host decided to leave, and the owner promoted me to that spot. It was the roughest job I ever had. Yeah. You know, here I am 18 or 19 by now, having to deal with world topics, and people are smart on that. The listeners were smart, and they were used to a certain type of host who was Afrocentric and knew everything that was going on. I'm 19 years old, trying to survive. I was physically sick every morning thinking about having to do that show. Man. And you have to carry 2 hours, not play music, 2 hours of talk. Content, and if people don't call in, you're left holding the bag. You know? Just talking, right? Yeah, you've got to have compelling topics every day.
Where was you getting content from? Like now I can just do my Googles and get what I need to get, right? Social media tell me something.
Well, I didn't grow up doing Fred Flintstone.
Well, I'm just, it wasn't a Google back then.
No, there was no Google back then. I think it's You've Got Mail. AOL. Okay. But reading the newspaper, watching the news, talking to people. And that's what I tell a lot of reporters now, you know, in a city of 4 to 6 million people. Right. All of these people, all you have to do is talk to people. Right. And you have a story. Right. You know, and that's what I did back then. Wow. Just get out in the community, talk to people, read the newspaper, watch the TV news, and just pull from there. Wow. Know?
All right, so your first, this is still radio, right?
Yeah, this is radio.
Tell us, how'd you get your first TV job?
The Gulf War happened, and I was, I think, a sophomore at Southern. And the TV station that I had basically grown up in said, we need your help. The war has broken out, and we need you down here. So they hired me to come and associate produce. And so I was producing, and then after the war kind of dissipated, then they transitioned me into weekend producer. And then one day, one of our reporters called in sick. And I said, well, I'm going out.
It's my chance.
I'm going out. Right. So I told my photographer, sit here. I'm going to take a camera, go out and do a story. And so I went out and did the story. The news director called me, chewed me out.
Was it a bad story?
Oh, no. Okay. No. He chewed me out, but he said, but I like what you did. Wow. So beginning Monday, we're going to put you on the air as a reporter. Wow. So I did reporting Monday through Wednesday and still produce the weekends. And then I became overnight anchor, and that's when you had newscasts after the 10 o'clock, and we recorded them at 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning until the morning show came on at 6.
These
now morning
need
shows
to hit
come on
drive.
at 4 a.m.
Wow. That was a hard, you anchoring at this point.
Yeah.
All right. Before the YouTube, you're reporting.
Yeah.
Tell us about the market you were in when it happened, and that it is the bug in the mouth video. Tell us about that day.
So
where were you? Tell us. Go ahead.
Well, being in Baton Rouge, I would get a job everywhere I went. You know, from one TV. Well, I worked mainly at one TV station. I said to myself, could I survive somewhere else? And so I decided to send out a tape to Little Rock, Arkansas. They called me. Yeah.
Little Rock, Arkansas.
It was like a big VHS beta tape, laser disc, all kinds.
I remember those.
Send it in the mail, and you have to wait like a month to hear back from somebody. So they said, we like what you're doing, come on up.
Right.
So I was at the NBC station in Little Rock, and I don't remember exactly what happened, but obviously a kid named Chris Woods died. Yeah. And, you know, the line, what really happened to Chris Woods?
Wow.
So we went up there and we were shooting a stand-up that would appear on one of the newscasts at KARK, the NBC.
I'm going to pause you. Tell people what a stand-up is.
That's when you see the reporter standing up at the end of the story, not live, but on tape saying, here's what happened, yada, yada. Isiah Carey, Fox 26 News.
We see him all the time. Okay, so y'all were shooting y'all stand-up.
Shooting the stand-up, and it was on tape, and just out of the blue, a big grasshopper landed in my pie hole. Yeah. And so I went off.
Okay. What you said on that video, right, is so classic. It's been remade. It's a legendary piece, right? How often today do people walk up to you and say that?
Every day of my life, 3 to 4 times a day. Every day. Every day.
You can't get away from it.
Yeah, not a single day.
How do you feel about that?
Initially, I don't know, when it first happened, I think it was when it first got out. Now, this happened in 1996.
Right.
And I think it got out in like 2010.
Tell us the story how that happened, because this is way before the YouTube. This thing is, by the time YouTube hit, this is 15 years old.
Yeah.
How did it happen?
I get a call from on-air personality here in Houston on the radio, Nate.
Oh, okay.
And she says, Isiah, I think you need to know there's a video out there of you. I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. It's like you're cursing, saying bad words, you're going off. I'm like, well, ain't me. Yeah. I know it ain't me.
You had no clue.
Yeah, just 15 years ago.
Okay. Absolutely.
You know, when it happened.
Right.
And she said, I'm going to send you a link. Okay. And I looked at the link. I'm like, oh, my God. How did that get out?
Did you remember that day? Like, yo, I remember that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But I was horrified, you know, because I don't want people to see me in that light, you know. Right. And so for a year, maybe 2 years, I refused to talk about it. And in fact, at Fox, I asked them to tell people, do not approach me about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
What?
And then I did Tosh.0.
I remember that.
And then I said, okay, it's a part of me.
Yes. Deal with
it.
Is that when it, okay, before that, for the camera guy, we call him Photox, somebody was rolling on that, right?
There's a whole article they did in the Arkansas Gazette about how it got out. Okay. So the NBC station that I work for in Little Rock, right? They moved from one location to downtown Little Rock. Okay. And when they moved, they left a box of tapes out front. And so this guy who plays in this alternative rock band or cover band was walking by at like 3, 4 in the morning. He said, let me open this box and see what's in it. Yeah. So he took a couple of the VHS tapes home. Right. You know what a VHS tape is?
Yeah, I got the VHS.
Not an 8-track. But he took the VHS tape home, watched it, saw my video, and put it on the internet.
I would love to sit down and talk to that. That dude has got to be paid at this point, or not?
No. He doesn't own the rights. I don't own the rights. Right. NBC and Little Rock owns the rights.
Wow. So and they're going to hold on
nobody made any money from it.
All right. So it hits YouTube. Isiah Carey in the building on the Bless B Show. It's going viral at the time. It's scared you to death. Did you at one point feel like, man, I ain't going to be able to get another job? This is going to mess up my career?
I wasn't thinking about another job. I was thinking about Fox. And I'm like, they're going to fire me. Yeah. So I called my news director, and then I called my general manager.
Was Fox, that was here, right?
Yeah.
Was that your very next stop after Little Rock?
No, I went to Memphis, Fox in Memphis.
That's right.
And I was also working for BET in D.C.
Wow. So they missed the whole point. They missed all, none of this was out while you were there.
Right. Okay. Right. God, I got Tavis Smiley. I was on his show, reporting for his show and for Ed Gordon. And I got here in 2001.
Okay.
So tape gets out. I call my general manager, and I'm like, I need to tell you this tape is out of me cursing, yada, yada. And I sent it to him. I didn't hear back from him for like 4 or 5 hours, D'Artagnan.
Yeah.
And then he sends it to New York,
okay,
to their, I guess, PR people.
Were they worried?
Yeah, I mean.
This is 01. Okay, yeah. Okay.
So I get a call from him, and he's laughing uncontrollably.
Yeah.
And he says, the people in New York love it. I love it.
Wow.
As long as you didn't do it while you were here.
Absolutely.
And you're fine.
Yeah.
So I was like, but still, after that, I didn't want to talk about it. I absolutely refused.
Fast forward, Tosh Point oh, TV show. I think that was MTV, I think, one of the networks. It was
Comedy Central.
Okay, whatever network it was on. They air it. Now you're internationally known. This video, now I'm saying music videos, I'm saying Saturday. Everybody's remaking this video. Mm-hmm. Everybody's making a joke about this video. How did life change for you now? Now you like, man, I'm literally a star behind this video. Not all of the hard work that I put in. This video, right? Because people didn't know what the story was even about until you just said that right now. Right. How did life change then?
I mean, just people know you everywhere.
Yeah.
I was in Los Angeles covering, I think, the second year of Empire because one of the writers and producers, she's from here in Houston, Attica Locke.
Yes, that's right.
And I'm walking down, I think it's, is it Hollywood Boulevard, the main? I don't know what it is.
Okay.
But anyway, it's one of the main streets there at night. And, I ain't on the light skin camp, but at night, and 3 white guys like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
You're that dude from YouTube.
Yeah.
And so I was in Louisiana one time and down at the edge of the coast because of hurricanes.
Yeah.
And these 2 doctors were boarding up their houses. Yeah. And I saw them pull my photographer to the side. Yeah. And he came back and he's like, they want to know if you're that guy from YouTube. Wow. So, I mean, everywhere I go. Yeah. I went to a police station in Rialto, California to do a story on body cameras. Wow. And one of the sergeants just freaked out. He said, can you hold on before you leave? I want to go get my kid out of school early to meet you. So it's just been crazy that.
Bro, you embraced this whole thing so well. I can't see how it hadn't drove you crazy. And like you said, 3 or 4 times a day, somebody says something. Every day. You embrace it well. Let's talk about Isiah Carey, the journalist today. Let's talk about some of the biggest stories out of Houston. Let's bring this thing home right here in Houston that you've worked on. Can you, off the top of your head, name some memorable stories?
Well, I remember I was at home sick. Okay. And I got a call from a source in Montgomery County saying, Isiah, you need to Google Adrian Peterson. Yeah. I'm like, who's Adrian Peterson?
Yeah. This is when I was working at Fox, too. I remember this one. Yeah, go ahead.
Who is Adrian Peterson? He's like, dude, you don't watch those sports? Yeah. I'm like, not really. So he said, Google him and call me back. Yeah. So I'm like, oh. Yeah. Dang. So I called him back. He's like, we're going to arrest him. We're going to indict him for physical abuse of his child. Yeah. And so I broke that at Fox. Sandra Bland had happened. Wow. I was out covering. I was out somewhere in, I think, like Baytown, covering these 2 lesbians who had their kid kicked out of a Christian school. Yep. And I get a call from some folk in Waller County saying this girl just died in the jail, suicide, and her name is Sandra Bland. Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, cool. I'll put that in the factor. Yeah. That's when the factor was like 5 minutes. Okay. So I said, this lesbian story is going to be the huge story. Right. So did the lesbian story, then did the Sandra Bland story, and people started picking up on it, and it just blew up. So I broke the Sandra Bland story. Right. Trying to think, what else?
I got one for you, and I was there that day. You said you're not big on sports, but Arian Foster.
Well, that ain't really breaking nothing. That's just getting into it.
You pulled up on them. That's how we said today. You pulled up on them.
Man, I got so much hate for that.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
It was like I didn't even know Houston anymore.
Wow.
Because, they love their sports figures.
Absolutely.
They can do no wrong.
Yeah. I was looking at you crazy that day, too. I was like, yo, man. He said, yeah.
I knew somebody tried to trip me in the newsroom.
On the Bless Be Show, Isiah Carey. Now, you was just talking about, like, a source. Being a good journalist, what makes you different from the new guy coming in? When you say, how do you build these relationships with sources?
That's what you do. You build those relationships. Yeah. You talk with people, and you show them that you're not going to reveal them if it is a story, a major story that requires you going into court or being sued about it. You have to say, I'm not going to give up my source. I'll go to jail before I give up my source.
When I was doing digital content over there, man, I'm going through looking for any little thing that can get some clicks and views, and then you show up and it's like, man, Isiah got 3-4 stories to tell, right? Mm-hmm. Take us through your typical day. You wake up, what happens? You go on your phone, what happens for you to find your news story?
Well, my phone is never turned off.
Okay.
So if it's a call at 2 in, 3 in, I'm going to pick it up.
Yeah.
If I think it's, a potential story. At one point I had my personal cell on all my business cards, which
that had to go away.
See, never busy working overtime, right? But I always take calls if people want to meet. If I have time, I'll try to meet with them. Mm-hmm. And you just got to talk to people. Yeah, that's the way I find most of my stories, and just having a conversation with people.
Absolutely.
All
right, so fast forward to today's time, man. This is after I left Fox. This whole factor thing, like you said, this was a 5-minute feature. When I was there, it's still a website, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's when I left Fox. It was a website. It was this thing has blown up into a full-length show.
Yes.
Talk about the fact of how that whole thing happened for you.
So, in 2005 here in Houston, I was the first reporter to be given the opportunity to have a blog. And, that's some of your personal opinion.
Right.
And I got it back in 2005, and I think the Houston Chronicle did an article on it. Another publication did an article on it. Houston Press. Right. And so D'Artagnan, who's a very smart guy, took notice of all of that.
Right.
And he says, well, let's see if we can do more with your blog.
Right.
And so it became initially like a 5-minute segment. Then on Thursdays, they expanded it to 15 minutes.
Right.
And then on Friday nights, they decided to give me the last half hour of the newscast.
Yeah.
And then we moved to the full hour on Fridays. Right. And we were going from live from restaurants. We had it at Boudreaux's, a couple of other restaurants.
Right.
And then Dart saw it was doing well, and ratings-wise, and he went to New York and said, we need funding. We'd like to do this Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
And they agreed. I went to Fox corporate with him. He took me there, met all of the...
So you had to pitch this, like, tell people what is it, like you're pitching this everywhere you're going?
That's what I thought I would have to do, but they were like, oh, we know Isiah. We like him. Do it.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Do it.
Reputation, man.
Okay, cool.
What kind of kickback? Because this show, man, you speak your mind on it.
Yeah.
Right? You state the facts, but you speak your mind on it also. What kind of kickback do you get from our community from it? You ever said something or did a story that just didn't sit right with you and you spoke your mind on it, and then now we got the social media and boom, they own you? How does it make you feel? Or what kind?
I get a lot of that mainly from conservatives who feel like I may lean too far to the left.
Okay.
I'll get comments about them. The only thing I've received from blowback from the African American community was we had these mixed race couples on there.
Yeah.
And there was a guy who said, I think his girlfriend was white and he was black, and he said, mixed couples make the cutest babies. And people were like, Isiah, I can't believe you let him get on there and say that.
Yeah.
They blame me.
Yeah.
When I heard it, I'm like, this is crazy.
It's about to go down today, right? Yeah.
But I didn't know they were going to come for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm the moderator.
Right.
And I should have shut him down.
Yeah.
But,
How important is social media to you, and how do you use it effectively today?
Very important.
Yeah.
A lot of people want me to use it to get guests.
Yeah.
And topics for the show, but I feel like that's my job. And if you guys want to send me something, that'd be great.
Right.
But I like to entertain people.
Yeah, I've seen you posting pictures in the hospital. It's like, this is strictly for the likes. I see it now. Like, so you're not afraid to be Isiah Carey, the reporter, or Isiah Carey, the homeboy in the gym?
I got on my $13 Walmart sneakers right now.
I got to get it.
Week 13.
Yeah.
Going strong.
Wow. Okay, so what's next for Isiah Carey? You've done it all. You gonna own a station one? You've been doing it since you were 5.
Mm-hmm.
What's the goal for you?
I don't know. I got to see what time will tell, what God has in store for me.
Yeah.
You know, I never thought I'd be doing a show like this.
Yeah.
You know, because I've always been the investigative, straight news.
Right.
That's it. I didn't like feature stories.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like puppy stories.
Right.
And now I got dogs on the show.
You got everything. The rappers. You got
prostitutes.
everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Peaches.
What do you think? In the
run
era,
specials during the summer.
in the era of digital content, the live platforms like the live Instagram, the live Facebook. What do you think journalism and news? Because we have the same question on the radio all the time. Is going. In your opinion?
I think it's pushing us to be almost reckless because we're trying to keep up with the public. You know, because, you know, when Osama bin Laden was, you know, assassinated or taken out, there was a guy on Twitter who broke the story.
That's right. Sure did.
Yeah. Not the news media with all of our resources.
Yeah. And
so we're trying to keep up with the public.
Right.
You know, there was a story recently where a lot of people were tagging me, trying to put pressure on me to do this story. Said this kid was kidnapped by these 5 white guys and taken into a house. I'm like, that just doesn't feel right to me.
Don't feel right. Okay.
And they're like, why aren't you covering this? And you get a lot of public pressure as a result of that.
Right.
But as a journalist, you know something ain't quite right.
Right.
And so police came out and announced the kid made it up.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I said, I'm not going to touch it. And it was the right thing to do.
Speaking of that, man, in this business, breaking stories is the big thing.
Yeah.
How big are you on I Got to Be First?
With this show, not really.
Okay.
You know, I want to provide information that people can use or at least entertain them.
Absolutely.
But when I was doing news, I always had to be first. You know, that's a different story.
Right.
You know, like last week, rather, we did a segment on a whole half hour on dating.
Okay.
And relationship, being single in Houston.
Okay.
So it's lifestyle topics, entertainment, and news as well.
Right.
Like Friday, we did domestic violence.
That was more heavy topic.
And what's the other topic? I can't remember. I do so many different topics and stories I can't remember. But stuff that will impact you, stuff that you can walk away and say, okay, now I'm armed with this knowledge, and I can live my life a little bit better.
Okay. Isiah Factor, what time and what station?
Monday through Friday, 10:30 at night on Fox 26.
And for people who want to get on the show, how do they get in touch with you to get on the show?
We have a producer, Mark Coleman, and you're familiar with Mark Coleman.
Oh, Mark, what's up? Yeah.
Mark.Coleman@foxtv.com. Mark, typical spelling, .Coleman@foxtv.com.
And if they want to get in touch with you, you the big internet star. How we finding you on social media? What's your social media?
At Isiah Carey Fox 26.
Instagram?
Same thing.
Twitter?
Same thing.
And you actually replied to me on Snapchat. That was a shot in the dark right there because I lost your number. But Isiah Carey on Fox 26, man, we appreciate you for being a staple in our community, man, being who you are and staying true to this whole thing of journalism. Isiah Carey, Fox 26, icon in the building on the Blessed Beat Show on 93.7 The Beat.
Jehovah's passion for life. We just supported his team that be bringing them life.